I've been outside this morning working on my birds of paradise. Come join me. Hi, I'm Elise and I'm glad that you stopped by. I'm in Zone 9B. A little overcast today. I'm really hoping that we'll get some rain, but it's not in the forecast. But keep your fingers crossed. I'm working on my birds of paradise. I have a couple small ones, a little over a foot tall. They were in trade gallon size pots. And then I have a larger version that is in a 2-gallon pot. And they all needed to be repotted. They were growing out the bottom, the roots were growing out the bottom. They were splitting the sides of the pots. So I started this morning doing that, and I thought, well, I'll just step back a moment, put the camera on, and share this with you. Birds of paradise, a tropical plant, extremely pretty. This is the Strelitzia regina. This is the blue or purple with the orange and yellow bloom. When I was growing up, my mother had a huge clump of these birds of paradise next to her house. And her house was painted white, so you got this fantastic green clump of foliage, and then it was just prolific blooms. I mean, it was beautiful. But I'll tell you something right up front. This sets huge root systems or rhizome systems. So don't put it too close to your house. And it's like bananas because it is in the same order as bananas and cannas and gingers and other plants. And if you've ever tried to dig up a clump of birds of paradise or a big clump of bananas, you know what I mean. It can be a challenge sometimes. Well, we had a freeze one year and it just knocked all the birds of paradise down, killed them. I mean, it was a really bad freeze. We ended up having to hire someone to come and dig them up. They were that much of a challenge. She did not replant. Unfortunately, I wish she had have saved some of the rhizomes and roots and planted them elsewhere. But she didn't. But this is the bird of paradise that I have now. I really want it to grow. This was a trade with one of my friends. And again, Strelitzia regina. And regina means queen or royalty. And actually, this plant was named after Queen Charlotte, who was the wife of George III of England. She was from Germany, and they named it after her. Really pretty. There's about 5 species, but they think one of them is a mutation. It is hardy in zones 9, 10, and 11. Now, there is a bird called the bird of paradise, and there are other plants called birds of paradise. So make sure you get the right one if you're ordering it online or somebody offers to give you one. Oh, well, hey, if somebody offers to give you a bird of paradise, take it, no matter what variety of bird of paradise it is. My friends had one of the huge white ones, and they can get over 30 feet tall. It took over their whole front yard, taller than their house, and they couldn't plant anything else around because of this huge clump. So they moved. I don't know if the new owners ever did anything with it or not. This is the official flower of the city of Los Angeles, California. You can grow it as a houseplant. You can grow it in your patio and pots, in your hothouses, your conservatories. So there are ways to plant it and grow it. And I did read somewhere that if you plant them in pots, keep them really, really tightly planted because they'll bloom better. I don't know. My mom's was prolific bloomers, and she had them outside, spread apart in the ground, so they had room, and they did fantastic. Experiment, folks. Not really edible, although some folks do use the leaves for wraps to put meat, rice, and stuff, just like they do the bananas and the gingers and the canna leaves, which you can do that with all of them. One really neat thing about this plant, though, it has a whole list of symbolisms. Peace, love, freedom, loyalty. And in some countries, in some cultures, it was standard practice that people got married, you presented them with a bird of paradise for good luck and love. So I think that's really neat. If you get a chance, look into some of the symbolisms of this plant. Medicinal, it does have quite a few medicinal benefits attributed to the bird of paradise. Again, look it up, do your own research, and make informed decisions. So let's get into repotting these. Now the two small ones I've already taken out of the pots. I actually had to cut one of the pots off because the roots had grown out the bottom so bad. And on this one, you can see where it had started coming out. Now this one I didn't have to cut off, it did come out okay. So I have taken them out, the dirt is out. I washed them off a little bit because I wanted you to see these roots. And you'll understand why mature birds of paradise will be so hard to get up. You ready? Look at that. Isn't that huge? And I actually broke a few of these off getting it out of the pot. But that's how big it is. And let's look at this one. Now, this is even larger. I mean, doesn't this look like some type of alien from outer space, the tentacles coming out? But wow. And it definitely past time to repot these. So I haven't made up my mind yet if I'm going to put them in the ground or in much larger pots. I had a space all picked out for them, and then I got to thinking about it. Well, it's a little close to the house, although it was about 6 or 8 feet away. Maybe I would like to put them out freestanding and make specimen pieces. Put the large one in the center and the two smaller ones, one on each side. And when I plant them, I will try to spread the roots out a little bit, or the rhizomes, so I don't break them, and then they can take off. But that is why birds of paradise are a challenge to dig up once they're of any size. And this is just a little over a foot tall plant that has a root and rhizome system like that. Okay, so I'm kind of excited to see what this big one's going to be. Now, I have not taken this out of the pot, but I did drop it. I dropped the whole pot, and it did disturb it, and lots of the soil came out. So hopefully it's going to be very easy for me to slide out. Anytime you have large pots like this and you have plants that you know really need to be repotted, the first thing I do is I'll put it on its side and I'll look at the bottom and see if there are roots coming out of the drainage holes. If there are lots of large roots coming out, especially if your taproot has come out, then you might want to cut your pot off. Now, if it's a pot you can't cut, then of course you do have to try to get it out. So the first thing, if you have a soft pot, is you want to match. Now this was going to come out because, like I said, I did drop it. And lots of the soil came out and disturbed it. So it will come out. If you have a ceramic pot, a clay pot, terracotta pot, a decorator pot that you don't want to cut up, there are ways to get it out. First, take your clippers and go through and clip off all of your roots. If any roots are sticking out, clip those off, get them out of the way. Because if you have large roots out here that are wrapped all around, it's hard to get your pot out. Next, another option. Take a long bladed knife or a stick or anything and run around the edges. You know, just like you do when you're trying to get a cake out of the pan. You take your knife and run around the edges, and that will help to loosen it up. And if that still isn't enough for you to be able to get the plant out, get your garden hose and start lightly spraying it and washing the soil away from the roots. Just be warned, make sure you're on the back side so if the water splashes out anywhere, you don't get covered with mud. So, like I said though, I know this one's going to come out very easy. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Fooled me. So I'm going to lay it back down. Turn the pot around, and this will loosen it up just by mashing on the pot. If the pot is too big for you to pick up like this and put up on a station, and this is my portable potting platform. It's just my wheelbarrow with some old clothes racks on it, but it's fantastic. It saves the potting soil for me that drops through. I can put up more soil in here, pots, water. It's portable, plus it's just the right height for me that I don't have to try to bend over and repot. Okay, so I've loosened that up now. If I couldn't get it loose and you can't lift the pot, if the pot's too heavy, then lay the pot down on its side on the ground. First do this all the way around. If that doesn't work, try your knee to loosen it up. If you have good balance, you can always try your foot to loosen it up. So there are ways to do it. Now let's see if it will slide out now. Okay. And like I said, I can let the soil just fall through here. Let's see what this looks like. Actually, I'm surprised that it's not larger than it is compared to the size of the root system on the smaller ones. And it has been in here way too long. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. See what's going on here. I really expected this root system to be twice this size, but it's still a nice root system. Now that one is broke, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off. I do have my clippers out here if I need them. And that one is broke. Of course, the idea, and I'm going to actually save these and plant them because they have roots on them. And these are the rhizomes. It doesn't hurt. I always try. So this one doesn't look too healthy, but it's okay. Still lots of root systems and some rhizomes on here. I'm not worried about the plant not doing well. So that is the large one. Again, a little disappointed. I was really expecting a lots of root system. But that's okay, it will do fine. And it's already picking up the red in the middle of the shaft. I'm really hoping it will go ahead and bloom before long. Isn't that pretty? And these went through a hurricane, a tropical storm, triple-digit heat indexes, a drought, 2 freeze events, several frosts. And I just had them outside. And they survived all that. Wonderful plants. Anything else I can share with you about these great plants? I don't think so. I will make up my mind in the next few minutes because I'm going to have to do something with them now. Either put them in the ground or put them in much larger pots. And I might just put them in much larger pots and sit them where I think I would like them and let them stay for a little while. And I do that quite often. And that way I see if they can acclimate to that location. Because location, very important for your plants. That's it, folks. I hope that you have enjoyed seeing what the root system looks like on these birds of paradise. Learned a little bit about the birds of paradise. Maybe this is something that you can put in your landscape, or if you already have it, hey, good for you. And I am going to pot these little couple of rhizomes up since they have roots, and we'll see if they do go ahead and grow for me. Again, never hurts. Always try. That's it. We'll come back and we'll visit these at a later date. But I hope you've enjoyed it. And until we can speak again, I hope you have a fantastic day.